Everyone expected it to fail, but despite the odds, this ragtag band from Marvel's cosmic side went on to become overnight A-listers. Join Johnnie Torch. Johnnie Torch, man, you know. Legendary cartoonist and YouTuber. Aw, man. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll start out by saying I knew literally nothing about the characters before seeing the film. I chose not to read much about the production or any of the comics as to have a pretty fresh slate to go by, which was unique in that I typically have a working knowledge of most of the other comic characters getting the big screen treatment these days. The movie starts out pretty somber with the death of Star-Lord's mom, and that kind of threw me. I'm there thinking, I thought this was supposed to be funny, you know, talking raccoon and all. I found the way Star-Lord connected with his mom after she passed on through her favorite music quite touching. It probably hit me more since I'm presumably Star-Lord's age, and my mom has much the same playlist. The music in the film gives it a great character all of its own. Not all the songs are gems, mind you, but I've always had a special place in my heart for a Blue Swede's Hooked on a Feeling, with the Ooga Chugga chorus. Yes, I loved that song before it became cool. Chris Pratt really stole the show here as Peter Quill, Star-Lord. He strikes a fine balance between would-be hero and charming rogue. Bradley Cooper's Rocket Raccoon comes a close second. He and his tree-like co-pilot, Groot, voiced by Vin Diesel, could probably carry a film of their own. Zoe Saldana trades her Starfleet uniform in to play Gamora. She does the best she can, but I felt she was the least interesting of the lot. Rounding out the team of misfits is Dave Bautista's Drax the Destroyer, who has a very humorous running gag of taking everything that's said extremely literally. We get to see the Collector played by Benicio del Toro, who was last seen at the end of Thor the Dark World, and meet Yondu, the leader of the Ravengers, played by Michael Rooker. Again, I don't know anything about the comics, but having Yondu as sort of this blue-skinned alien hillbilly was a very unlikely but effective choice. As a bit of trivia, the actress playing Star-Lord's mom, Laura Haddock, was actually in Captain America, the First Avenger. I really liked the Zartan-esque looking villain Ronan the Accuser. Gotta love a guy with that title. He was pretty menacing, and I loved every scene he was in. I get that people tend to discount Marvel villains most of the time, but again, here, I don't really know what else they could have done to flesh him out more. He's basically a radical that lives to avenge his ancestors by trying to destroy Xandor. It's kind of disappointing that they killed him off. Marvel tends to do that far too often to its villains, but at least he had a cool demise. Most of the comedy works really well, with lots of 80s pop culture references to spare. The ending with Star-Lord's dance-off to the tune of Ooh Child in front of Ronan was priceless. Nebula was the one that struck me as not being totally fleshed out. She looks like she has an interesting backstory. How did she get so messed up? She looked to be blatantly left on the table for a sequel. We get our first real introduction to Thanos here, and I'm not really feeling the presence he should be exhibiting. Maybe it's Josh Brolin's voice? And quite frankly, what the deuce is up with them Infinity Stones? We've been introduced to 3 at this point, and Thanos doesn't seem at all close to owning one. The visuals all looked great, just stunning effects work. I loved the ship battle with them connecting and becoming a net. I didn't really expect something so very creative and original. A lot of people have tried to peg this film as the next Star Wars. Frankly, I don't see that. It seems to me to be more like this generation's Ghostbusters. It's a mildly profane comedy that seems to just pass muster as a family film. So all in all, I had a fun time, which is all I ask, really. I didn't really consider it among the all-time best comic book movies as others do. Perhaps the fact that I didn't have a previous vested interest in the characters like I did with Cap, Stark, and Hulk worked against me in this instance. I don't really find myself giddy with the prospect of a sequel like I do at the end of other Marvel movies. And I kinda have to wonder if the film didn't have Marvel plastered over the title and I just caught the film at midnight on a cable channel, would I just consider it nothing more than an amusing romp? Honestly speaking, probably. I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy 4 stars out of 5. This is Johnnie Torch reminding you, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon.